Have you ever seen a 7th degree Taekwondo black belt fight a Muay Thai legend? This isn't just any 7th degree Taekwondo black belt either. At the time of this fight, this man had a 19-2 boxing record and an astounding 80-2 record in kickboxing. Yes, the man is Dale Cook, one of the greatest American kickboxers of all time. This legendary match took place in June 30th, 1990, at the height of Changpuek Gyatsornrik's career. Changpuek is known for his legendary matches with Kaman and Roufus, defeating both of them in competitive matches with dramatic outcomes. But what most people don't know is that Changpuek was initially a lightweight fighter. After fighting 30 fights in the elite stadiums of Thailand and never capturing a title, he would eventually become too overweight for the Thais and instead challenge the best international fighters around the world. Despite being only 72 to 75 kilograms, Changpuek would often fight light heavyweights and heavyweights. In other words, he was the giant slayer before Galglide shocked the world in the K1 heavyweight tournament. In this legendary fight against Dale Cook, the weight discrepancy was not too significant, unlike many of his other bouts. It's also important to note that Dale had a lot of momentum coming into this fight. The American was already a 5-time world champion and had just come off beating 5 Thais in a row, some of them highly ranked too, such as Superman and Hansu, champions of Thailand combined with Western boxing. But Changpuek was in his prime too, having just defeated Kaman, widely considered the greatest Dutch fighter of his time, and Roufus, widely considered the greatest American kickboxer. In this battle of titans, we were presented a fantastic stylistic matchup of combinations versus singular strikes. You see, most Thais are not combination punchers. This is because they often use less than 1 or 2 punches to set up a devastating kick. In contrast, Western kickboxing champions were almost always combination punchers, emphasizing very active feet and fancy techniques such as spinning back fists and spinning kicks. Their styles are deeply rooted in Western boxing and mixed with karate and taekwondo, but none of these rule sets prepared for low kicks. This stylistic difference meant that Changpuek's matches with international opponents became a battle of speed and movement versus power and efficiency. From the very beginning, Changpuek was threatening low kicks because he knew they would deter the powerful punches of the kickboxer. In the 90s, most strikers' low kick sensitivity was still very low. This would create spastic style fighters who lunge from long distance and throw combinations that would be deemed very awkward today. Knowing Changpuek would throw low kicks, Dale had a clear game plan: to throw counter punches as Changpuek threw a low kick. This is an attempt to exploit the arm swing required to throw a powerful kick, but it didn't work. The American champion also had another game plan: to unload big combinations in order to overwhelm the Thai. But Changpuek was able to nullify the combination with a single power cross. You see, movement and combination is not inherently superior to heavy rooted stability and single shots. Each of them serve a purpose, and you can see it clearly at play here. It is simply a stylistic choice, and each have their strengths and weaknesses. Combinations are good in that if they cannot be disrupted, the attacker will score big and land multiple strikes. However, history has shown us that the problem with combinations is that if it can be disrupted, especially by a power strike, there's going to be a big problem for the combination stylist. Muay Thai roundhouses differentiate from karate and taekwondo so much because of how heavy it lands. Optimized for power, it sends shockwaves throughout the body. Each kick has a stunning effect which deters movement and combinations. Low kicks take away the ability to have a side-on stance, which omits the explosive in and out movement American kickboxers favour. Roundhouses to the upper body also threatens combinations by stopping it before it can really start. Since combination punchers rely on the jab to lead their attack, Changpuek threw high kicks towards the American champion's arm. The dual threat of high and low meant that his opponent could rarely step in. It also meant that his opponent would be very hesitant to even fire a jab. By this point, Changpuek has established his timing and rhythm. He was the one who controls the distance, chose when to pressure, and picked which strikes he wanted to land. Throughout the fight, Changpuek had been landing big left hand counters, and it was exactly a cross counter that dropped the American champion for the first time. And then again for the second time. Knowing that the opponent is wounded, Changpuek moved in with a combination to finish the job. You see, oftentimes, Muay Thai fighters utilise combinations sparingly. They do it when they know it had a high probability of ending the fighter, rather than using it from the very beginning. With most Muay Thai fighters, there isn't a whole lot of elaborate punching combinations. The emphasis remains on the fundamental strikes. This is because the fundamental strikes, such as the jab, cross, and lead hook, syncs very well with the Muay Thai stance, roundhouses, push kicks, and knees. Any prolonged punching would simply disrupt the ability to kick in the way that the Muay Thai fighters do. What do you think of these stylistic matchups? We love them. And no, the Thais didn't always win against the best strikers around the world, but their odds of doing so were outstandingly high. I'd love to feature more historic matchups of all kinds and on both sides in the future. Let me know in the comments which fight you'd like to see featured. By the way, in collaboration with Saenchai, we are going to release a premium video course on how to fight giants. Saenchai, the best pound for pound fighter of his era, has consistently beaten countless fighters with a 20 to 30 pound weight difference. If you're interested, do check out the link in the description.